Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Millennial Revolt, an independent political talk show that seeks to bring a different narrative than the stale one we have going on right now in the mainstream media. So today we're going to be talking about the Netherlands and Turkey, because right now there's a huge diplomatic row going between the two countries, and it all centers around the Grand Sultan Erdogan, who wants to basically rile the many Turks living in European countries because he wants to hold rallies so he can get them to approve of a referendum that is coming up in April. So there's so much to talk about, there's so much to get into, so let's just jump right into it. The diplomatic row between Turkey and the Netherlands started out yesterday. Now, there was a big furor about Turkey wanting to host a rally in the Netherlands so they can garner support for a referendum that is going to be happening in April in Turkey to expand the powers of the executive office, basically rendering their parliament as well as their judicial branch basically null and void because Erdogan would have all of the power. So while all of this is happening with the Netherlands and Turkey, the Dutch are about to have elections this week. Now, it is said that the Dutch government is set to lose about half of its seats in the election as the anti-Islam party of Geert Wilders is set to make strong gains. Now, many people said that the Turkish minister's visits were undesirable as it would not cooperate in their political campaigning in the Netherlands. President Erdogan has warned the Netherlands that if you can sacrifice Turkish-Dutch relations for an election, you will pay the price. He said this during an awards ceremony in Istanbul. He said, "I thought Nazism was dead, but I was wrong. Nazism is still widespread in the West. The West has shown its true face." Speaking to reporters before a public appearance in the northeastern French city of Metz, Kasukavlu said Turkey would continue to act against the Netherlands until it apologizes. Now, you see this claim made by Turkey and Turkish officials a lot every single time that Western governments don't kind of capitulate or bow down to Turkish demands. They call them fascists, they call them anti-democratic, they call them Nazis, which is a term they've been throwing around a lot. They even threw it out against the German government this week as well, calling them Nazis for not allowing a Turkish minister to conduct a political rally in their country. The German government cited security concerns as to why they did not allow that to happen. And given the strong feelings in Europe, and there are still sore wounds as far as World War II is concerned, a lot of Europeans take offense to this charge that Turkey is leveling at them. The Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte hit back by saying he would do everything to de-escalate the confrontation, which he describes as the worst the Netherlands had experienced in years. But he said that the idea of apologizing was bizarre. He said that this is a man who yesterday made us out for fascists in a country of Nazis. "I'm going to de-escalate, but not by offering to apologize. Are you nuts?" He told a morning talk show that he appeared on. Later in the day, Rutte also said it is now in the interest of leadership and in the interest of working together to try to de-escalate. But of course, the Turks then have to help. And what they are saying today is not helping. And that is correct. If you want to improve diplomatic relations so it doesn't deteriorate any further, you don't hit out at calling allies to be Nazis and painting them out as fascists because they wouldn't allow ministers in your country to hold a political rally to garner support for a referendum in Turkey. No foreign nation has the right to conduct political rallies in a sovereign state. You don't have that right. If the current government allows you to do that, that's one thing. But if they say you can't do it, you can't do it. Turkey wants to build support for their referendum. So they are lobbying, they are rallying their Turkish minority in multiple European countries to vote yes. And the sovereign nations, the sovereign governments of these nation states have a problem with that. I think many European governments, the Dutch government included, have to think about the minority populations who are living in their countries, such as the Kurdish community, or what about the people who do not support Erdogan or who do not support the referendum that he is trying to push. You could have Turkish political divisions flowing over into Turkish minority communities all across Europe with pro and anti-Erdogan camps fighting each other. Also keep in mind, a lot of these European countries still have economic issues. There's still going to be the migrant crisis that's going to pop up again when the warm weather comes. There's security issues all across Europe as far as terrorism and ISIS sleeper cells that could be popping up. So they have a lot on their plate. This is not something that they also need to be dealing with where their ally is stirring up more trouble for them. You know, Turkey also hit back by saying that the Dutch ambassador to Ankara should not return from leave for some time. He said that Erdogan is looking to the large number of Turks living in Europe, especially in Germany and the Netherlands, to help secure a victory next month in a referendum that would give the presidency sweeping new powers. As I said, if this referendum is approved, the executive branch is going to have far more power than they ever had before, basically rendering the judicial branch as well as their parliament basically null and void. They're not going to have any power. The executive branch is going to have the power. Concerns about Turkey's erratic diplomacy spread to Germany, where Chancellor Angela Merkel said she will do all she can to prevent Turkey's domestic tensions spreading onto German territory. Austria and Switzerland have also canceled Turkish rallies due to escalating disputes. A senior member of her conservative bloc in parliament, Hans Michael Bach, demanded on Sunday that the EU stop aid to Turkey and ruled out any hopes that it would join the EU. There is no prospect of entry in the long run. Turkey is getting further and further away from the European Union. Support programs that it gets as an EU candidate are therefore a waste of taxpayers' money. And the European Union still has to deal with the fact that at any moment, Turkey could open the floodgates where he can send millions of refugees flooding into Europe again. He has threatened to do that numerous times. Michael Bach said that it is time that the EU stops performing like a diplomatic paper tiger towards Ankara. Europe must not be led by the nose round the Turkish election arena, and he's correct. Turkey has the EU at its mercy, because if EU-Turkish relations or relations with numerous European countries continue to deteriorate, at any time, Turkey can basically open their borders and send millions of migrants and refugees into Europe. Now, we already know that many Eastern as well as some Central European governments has taken proactive steps to try to stem the flow of migrants coming into Europe, but there's also a real concern about when the warm weather comes, will the migrant crisis resume? You know, you already still see the Italian Coast Guard still picking up boats full of migrants that are coming into Italy. So it is a real concern, and European governments must take a proactive step to try to stop Turkey. Right now, it seems that Turkey is slipping further and further away from their secular governments that they had. They had a democracy. They had a thriving democracy. They had freedom of speech. They had a equal parliamentary system where basically the president's role was more ceremonial than anything. It didn't really have any power until the Erdogan government came into power, and all of that changed. And the coup whether it was real or it was fake, staged by Erdogan himself, basically solidified this power. He shut down more newspapers. There was a giant purge in the military. 300 people died, and there were numerous journalists who were arrested. So before Turkey and many of his ministers start calling anyone fascists or Nazis, they should really take a hard look in the mirror, and not to mention what they are doing to the Kurdish population who are living in Turkey. You know, there is a real human rights issue going on there. So there is just a lot of tension that is happening right now between the Netherlands and Turkey. The best course of action is through diplomatic channels, is to keep discourse alive, to keep conversation alive, and just to talk it out. You don't want 400 plus years of diplomatic relations to go to the wayside, but I can understand why the Netherlands government decided against having the Turkish rally in their country, and I can also understand why the German government actually decided against having the Turkish rally in their government as well. Two other nations decided that they would postpone Turkish ministers from coming into their countries to hold rallies because of the tensions. Denmark, as well as Switzerland and Sweden as well. But France had to be the only one who did not stand in solidarity with their European allies, and conservative candidate François Fillon accused the socialist president François Hollande of breaking in a flagrant manner with European solidarity by letting the meeting take place, because a rally was held in the French city of Metz yesterday, and Marine Le Pen, the leader of Front National, tweeted, "Why should we tolerate on our soil comments that other democracies refuse? No Turkish electoral campaigning in France." So it's just a lot going on internationally right now. And there was also a weird article that appeared in a Turkish newspaper that was basically threatening the Netherlands. That, to sum it up, it was basically saying that the Netherlands has 400,000 Turkish people living in the Netherlands currently, and they only have an army that is 48,000. So to me, that sounds like a threat. That sounds very troubling, and anyone should be worried because, you know, Germany alone has a population of 1 million plus Turkish people. So if they're all nationalistic and pro-Erdogan doing things like this in a small country in the Netherlands with a population of 16 million people, imagine what they could do in Germany. And this is not to demonize Turkish people or say that you need to be wary of them in your country, because you don't. You know, you have Turkish people living in society that have assimilated, that are working, that are building lives in a lot of these European countries, that just go about their daily business, working for their families, contributing to society, paying their taxes, and just want to be left alone. There's a lot of Turkish people who don't like Erdogan as well. I know Turkish people that do not like Erdogan for various reasons. Mainly, they don't like what he's doing to the country, from what they've said to me. So a lot of these people also have to be protected. There goes a saying, one rotten apple spoils the bunch. And unfortunately, you have a loud minority who is doing these things who could cause a lot of trouble for other people. So it's good that these governments are cracking down. It's good that they're saying no, because they still have to worry about the Turkish people who are living in their societies who don't want any parts of this. They have to think about the Kurds who are living in European cities as well, who don't want any part of this. So they have to be protected. Their feelings have to be thought of as well. I think there has to be a greater focus on integration. There has to be a greater focus on actually assimilating these people into the society, the refugees and migrants who do come in. And there also has to be something done about people who are there, who are third generation, fourth generation, who are still not assimilating into the societies in which their parents have come, in which they have lived in their whole lives. So that is a problem. Hopefully the situation can be fixed. Hopefully there's a bright side to all of this and the situation doesn't deteriorate any worse than it has. It seems as if European governments have had enough. It seems as if the people have had enough, because there was even reports that Dutch citizens were throwing things from their windows at the Turkish protesters who were protesting that the minister couldn't speak in the Netherlands. So it's a lot going on. I'm going to keep you guys updated. I'm the Millennial Revolt. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you have a wonderful day. Bye.